Welcome back to another episode of Comes a Time. That right there is my friend Oteil.
And that right there, hopefully the way my finger is pointing, it's my friend Mike.
Hi, Oteil.
Hey, Mike.
We had a fun chat today with Jim Belushi, actor, comedian, farmer, now producer of the show Growing Belushi, about his cannabis farm in Oregon. And man, this was right before we do these intros, obviously after the episode, but we were just talking. Oteil, please reiterate what you do, because I echo your sentiment so much.
Well, I'm an older guy, and I saw the original cast of Saturday Night Live. That's the only one I ever watched. When they started dying, it broke my heart, and I just stopped afterwards. But to hear his speech pattern and to hear that sound, it just was really, it was tripping me out. It took me back. It was like a time warp. It really made me feel good in ways that are indescribable and you can't get any other way. It was, and he's so funny, man.
Yeah, it was incredible. And I know exactly what you mean, because I grew up in the, Norm, Spade, Sandler, Phil Hartman. Like, that was my group. I saw Lorne Michaels interviewed, and he said that like it's pretty standard that the group that was, you were in like junior high school and high school, that was your favorite, and like Will Ferrell and all them were kind of like came after that for me. So I kind of missed out, and Fallon and those guys. But yeah, I mean, but you go back and you watch the old, his brother and Aykroyd and Chase, and I mean,
it's probably because you remember the time. There was a span of time there where I wasn't old enough for my parents to let me stay up to watch it. And then I remember when it's like, okay, you could stay up and watch. I was like, yes.
Yeah, it's like a rite of passage.
And so that's the one that definitely imprints, for sure. But it was so great we did ask him a little bit about the Blues Brothers,
A little bit.
His Aykroyd impression is
Please stay tuned until you hear the Aykroyd impression. But you want to know what? It doesn't matter who the hell we talk to. This podcast finds its way to the fact that people are hurting and we can help each other through it, no matter what. And his, experiences meeting the folks that are in line waiting to buy, medicine and all of that. It's a really remarkable chat. And I'm really, thank you, Jim. Yeah. I was down in New York doing a long night of shows, and it was like a one real late set. And it was a crazy night in New York. It was just one of those, lately in New York City, it's like in the middle of the night, it just feels like New Year's Eve and all the bars let out. And it's just people coming back to life. And I'm trying to shuffle around the line to go down to the Village Underground to do a set. And I turn to my right, and there's Jim Belushi and his son. And lo and behold, he's moving him into college. And he's like, hey, what's up? They told me to come around the corner. I want to see his show. And we had been in communication about having him on. And I'm like, you're supposed to be here, man. And it just got all it's like our thing found me in my shit night, And I was like, yeah, let's talk after. And I went on, and they watched my set. And then we walked outside and had a chat. And right away, it's just like, he's cool. This is going to be awesome, So thanks, Jim, for joining us today. And thank you, everybody who's listening. We're on Osiris. It's home to so many great podcasts. Head to osirispod.com to check those out. Speaking of cannabis, I hope I'm doing this right. Am I doing this right? Garcia Handpicked Cannabis is our sponsor. Honored to be a part of their amazing work. Go to garciahandpicked.com to see if it's available in your area. Beautiful packaging and beautiful product. And speaking of beautiful product, our Patreon's pretty friggin' great. So go to patreon.com/comesatimepod and join Oteil and I in the Wiz for a bonus episode each week and a whole bunch of great content that Eric's curating. So thank you. And everyone stay safe out there and take care of each other.
let it roll like a big wheel in a Georgia cotton field, honey.
All right. Well, Jim, great to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. I love this Zoom stuff. I don't have to travel anywhere. It's great. Zoom, I'm really getting used to it. I'm really kind of liking it. Last year, I released Growing Belushi, my cannabis farm show on Discovery, and I had to do 2 weeks of publicity and interviews, and I did it all from Danny Aykroyd's house in Martha's Vineyard. It was so nice.
Oh, wow.
Super nice.
Yeah, it could be worse, right?
Zoom stuff, man.
Yeah, totally. I ran into you in New York at the Cellar the other night when I was performing. Yeah.
So you put it together, and we put it together, and here we are.
See, and here we are, man.
Word, right?
Yeah. So see, that's the mission is when you do leave the house, you got to make shit happen. So when you go back, there's stuff to do.
Yeah. You were funny, by the way. My son really dug you, man. He's been wanting to go to the Comedy Cellar ever since. He's at NYU, 2 blocks away.
Oh, no kidding. I was there last night. I did an hour set. I wish I knew. I would have, invited him to come.
Well, he's swamped now, man. Ooh. So freshman year at NYU.
Oh, man. So were you there moving him in?
Exactly. The big move in, college day, up and down those elevators with boxes with toasters and little refrigerators and sheets and,
Is this
when I went to college, I loaded up my 61 Valiant with a bed from my room, boxes, and the car was filled with paint because I was painting houses. So I paint and smell paint in my car driving on the SIU. And this generation is like, this is a monumental day to move your child into school. I'm like, yeah, okay. All right.
That's funny in New York, though. In like the late August, basically, you see like Wisconsin plates and Iowa plates and Illinois plates, and everyone's smiling and happy and clean. And they're like, "Yeah, you're not from around here. Move your kids in. They're not dirty and miserable."
No. My son's digging it, though, man. He's digging it. He's really. My daughter just graduated last December from NYU, so. It really, New York really, it just knocks the LA out of you.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it knocks that polite bullshit out of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like, I'm in the west side of LA. Like, I don't know what lesson God has wanted me to learn. Maybe, be more polite. I don't know. I'm from Chicago. It's funny, my son was going, oh, God, these guys are like telling me I'm like so phony. I hate being from L.A. And I said, honey, I've been working with you for 4 years now, 5 years trying to get you to be real. All you got to do is speak what you feel.
Yeah.
I said, you lived in a house with a guy from Chicago. I don't buy any of your bullshit. All the girls do. The mom, it's like, you think I'm a bad dad. No, I'm just trying to be real with you. Now you're on the streets of New York. Oh, I don't have to teach you.
New York will do it for you.
Yeah, I am grateful to New York. But New York is, I got a long history with New York. John with Saturday Night Live. I mean, John, they became the darlings of New York. I mean, they were the toast of the town. New York was proud of them and claimed them as their own. And I, always kind of floated in behind John, the bigger brother. Mm. And then, I was at Cherry Lane. I was on Broadway. I did Saturday Night Live. I lived in the Village, Soho. And I got a long history with New York. I love New York.
Yeah.
Love New York.
You too. Do you remember what your rent was when you lived in the Village?
Yes, it was free because I was staying at John's place. But when I did Broadway the last time, it was $10,000 a month.
Oh. Okay.
All right.
Yeah, all right. That's a nicer place than mine.
Wait a minute. I wasn't paying that. If I was paying, I'd be finding a place for $385, and I'm at $385. I'm an actor. I never believe I'm going to get another job or make another dollar, so I'm a little tight.
Amen. That critic, right? That critic will keep you cheap. We talk about that quite a bit. The critic. Last night I was trying to do some new material and just, coming out of the pandemic and coming back to life and all that. You look at your old stuff and you go, this shit doesn't work anymore. It was written in a whole other world, And it's like, if you want to be real at all, it's like starting over again.
Yeah, it's a start over for everybody, really, isn't it? I mean, kind of for me. I mean, the pandemic brought on big changes in career-wise, acting-wise, changes in my family. I got divorced. I mean, the pandemic, some families got together, some families blew up. Mine was one that blew up. And, I'm starting over on all kinds of avenues. And I'm starting to really enjoy it. This is all right, not the same anymore. It's good to change your jokes. Come on, you find more inspiration.
Yeah, well, you heard some of the new stuff, so I'm glad you laughed.
Yeah,
you got to find a new groove. Yeah, a lot of people are doing that. A lot of people are finding a new groove. Did New York feel different to you? How did it feel compared to when you were there?
The only thing that felt different was it was nice to see more outdoor cafes.
Yeah.
Shutting down some of those streets and building out those cafes. Like, wow, these restaurants have just doubled their occupancy. That is awesome.
It's bad. It's a bad time to have a car there, but it's a good time to want to eat outside for sure. Oteil, I ran into Jim the night that I told you that it felt especially like Mardi Gras or New Year's Eve-ish. Where walking down McDougal, it was like a sea of people. It was just like a parade had just let out, And I turned to the right, and there's Jim. And I'm like, oh, we were supposed to meet right away. What'd I tell you? I'm like, this was supposed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess it's partly.
The village was alive. People were walking again,
Yeah.
And I feel pretty confident with the vaccine. I still was wearing my mask because I got all these people around me. Put on your mask. But then I just got the booster shot, so I feel pretty good.
Good.
Pretty safe.
So currently, are you up in Southern Oregon right now?
No, I'm in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. But the cannabis is up.
Well, it's up there, and I'm here because we are finishing our rough cut of 3 episodes for Growing Belushi for the second season. So I am here to literally sit in the editing room and do some, cleaning up with jokes and restructuring little things. But the crew that I got, the editors, they're in the groove.
I saw something
then
on there.
I go up to the farm.
Yeah.
I saw something on the like a promo that wildfires were threatening. Can you tell us about that? It said wildfires were threatening your farm.
That was last year's fire, September 8th, around that area of time when the Talent and Phoenix, 2 small cities along the I-5 corridor, about a 20-minute drive from my farm, just incinerated, just burnt down. We had a fire over to the east of us. That was to the west. We were about 3 miles away from the fire, which is really close.
Jeez.
Smoke was really thick.
Yeah.
And it was incredible, this community in Jackson County, because that's what I've experienced with. Man, people really stepped up. They really stepped up to help each other. And it's beautiful to see that humanity has that still,
Yeah, man.
But there were some lives, families that were devastated. But it's being rebuilt. And I know somebody's already got into their home. It's been rebuilt. So,
what's it like this year with the fire situation?
Fire situation was mainly coming from Northern California. we could read all that smoke. And then there was some fires north of us and west, but farther away. But we felt in our valley a really thick smoke.
I know some
situation.
I know some folks that grow on the East Coast that said that their plants had this oily kind of substance in the soil, and they found that it was that when the planes go by and drop that kind of petroleum substance on the fires to try to put it out.
Oh,
the wind had carried it in the smoke all the way over to the East Coast, and it was showing up in the soil, and it was like tacky on the plants and stuff. And it's like, man, it's wild. Like my wife even would like.
That's interesting because you know what? We just had a batch tested that turned up something that we're not used to, and it didn't pass. And it's like, come on, we have the cleanest farm there is. We use natural ingredients. We use water from the river. Maybe something from the river. Maybe some of that oil through the river, or maybe.
Who the hell knows?
That's interesting that we didn't. I'm going to bring that up to the grower.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of wild to think too, because it's, you think East Coast, West Coast, how much space there is, but I mean, we've been getting significant amounts of, in the Northeast. Like my wife will get like a itchy kind of like a skin rash type thing anytime there's a significant amount of smoke coming from the fires. And it's really wild that it's shown. I mean, as all of the catastrophic shit going on in our world, how tiny we're just ants on a hill, but that smoke's carrying a lot of stuff over here.
I mean, look, the media, I always have beef with the media. It's a, kind of a weird relationship because media helps you promote what you want to do and what you want to say, but media can also just ravage you,
Yep.
And I think media has been since Trump hasn't been in office, they've been so desperate for stories, that they really piled up on Oregon and the fires and on Portland and the little disturbances that they had there. Not little, but disturbances. So tourism is a big part of Oregon. It's a gorgeous state. Portland,
absolutely
one of the
beautiful.
Most beautiful cities on the coast. Yeah. Tourism dropped this year because the media made it feel like Oregon is either on fire or there's civil disturbance, in Portland. So let me tell you, Oregon's not on fire. It's still a beautiful state. And Portland's very peaceful, very nice, a lot of hippies, nice people.
Yeah. I remember seeing when in the midst of all the protests and stuff, and, I watch alternative media. I don't even deal with corporate news. And they showed a map. They were like, this is the little teeny spot where the protests are going on. And this is the rest of Portland. All of Portland is not on fire.
Yeah.
You guys are making this,
Yeah.
Well, I went down one time.
Yeah.
I'm doing this, growing Belushi, and it's about Oregon and growing, a little bit about Oregon. I went down, do a little research, kind of do a little scout, see, I wonder if we could shoot something here, And there was a little park across from the federal building. And I went there, and maybe there was 65 people, and they were all costumed up. Like, bulletproof things and helmets and, gloves. And it was wild. It was like a costume party, right? Because people were just milling around, talking to each other. Hey, what have you been doing? Oh, well, you find that job yet? No, and I applied, but they haven't called me back yet. Like it reminded me of like a pre-concert going to the Allman Brothers in the 70s, like hanging out in the lobby, bullshitting. It was like, this doesn't feel dangerous to me. This doesn't feel. So then, at 9:00, all of a sudden, coming down the street, the side street, were these vans and police vehicles with lights and sirens and microphones going, get on the street, get on the street. And then all the 65 people ran up to the edge of the street and started screaming. And the cops came out and said, get out of the street, get out of the street. They're flashing lights into the crowd and they're making noise and they're cheering and screaming. And then an hour later, the cops got in their cars and left. And the same guy's going, no. So maybe tomorrow I'll hear from this guy. Well,
Meanwhile, the news.
So I'm thinking going, first of all, the cops' entrance was like theatrical. It was like, this is a Broadway show.
Showtime.
I did Pirates of Penzance where I came out with a sword and an orchestra and a boat coming across the stage, right? And it was the audience just going nuts, right? I went, these guys have done a very good job of staging the opening overture of this 60-minute one-act musical. And then it hit me. Oh, it's the pandemic. There is no live entertainment.
Yeah, that's right.
Where is everybody going to go? It's like, hey, let's go down and see them. I hear they come out at 9. It's a pretty way to go.
Let's go get a good seat.
Yeah, nobody's getting hurt. They're just cheering each other. It was like just theater.
Yeah.
They just need to they're missing someone going, cue house lights, just like everybody takes their position and then start the show, then they run it all day long like it's happening all day and all night.
First of all those men and women there, I want to be clear that they're all there for a purpose and a good purpose, and the police are there for their purpose. And there's a lot of politics going on that I was more into the production part of it. It was very interesting.
The late Norm Macdonald said in one of his jokes, he goes, I remember growing up when in the news was a half an hour, and he goes, I think they had it right.
Yeah.
He said that. He goes, in fact, I think that was even too long. He's like, there was always a story about a local dog at the end.
Yeah. I remember the news being on, and we'd wheel the TV into the dining room and watch it. And it was so the desensitizing started there because we would be eating dinner and watching the news and seeing all this Vietnam footage. Right? Every night they get footage, and it's like we're eating dinner watching this,
Carnage.
Boys, women dying, It was,
yeah.
But it did help stop it because people weren't used to seeing it. So when they actually saw it, they were like, hey, all right, what are we doing here? Like, how many people are we, it was weird, but I wish we could go back to that when the news was all about yesterday. Like, it already passed.
Yeah. But if we went back to that, we'd still get busted for pot, so.
That's true.
Very true.
That's true.
Very true.
Silver
When
lining.
did you start to get into, like cannabis as like where we're at now, like the movement and the progress and everything that's going on? Was it always a part of your life, or?
Well, when I was in high school, I was a little bit of a hippie, and I did, I smoked pot. I actually got busted in my town for a couple of joints a couple of times. And then, I did the usual psychedelics, and then went to college. Once I started getting serious about acting, all that kind of fell to the side because the high really was that, and you just didn't want to cloud yourself.
Yep.
Although now I believe there are strains that don't cloud, but kind of support certain creative modes, but, like especially for writing, or you and I going back and forth trying to come up with ideas, collaboration. But I've never been a big smoker. And when I had this farm in Oregon, I had this property in Oregon on the river in Eagle Point, a beautiful spot. And the farm came up behind me, 80 acres, and I bought it. And I didn't know what to do with it. Grow something or put cattle on it, I don't know. And cannabis became recreationally legal. And I went, new agriculture.
Yeah.
So I got Captain Jack, which is friends with Danny Aykroyd. He used to be the weed dealer at SNL. And he had this strain, this Afghani strain called Afghanica, something Afghanica, I can't remember. Anyway, he went there in 71 and 72 and worked with the villagers of Masharif. It was known for its hashish for hundreds of years, right on the Silk Road. And the second year he worked there in the village, the elders gave him some seeds. So he's been growing that from seed to flower since 1972. And somehow he was involved with Danny and John and everybody at Saturday Night Live, and he was the weed guy. And it's really stinky pot. And Danny, you'd be up till 5 a.m. writing. At 12 o'clock, you're like, Tom Davis, and they would smoke a joint to get themselves going again, and they'd come up with cone heads and shit. This was really a creative strain.
Yeah.
And you could smell it down the halls because it's so stinky. So Captain Jack was known as the smell of SNL. So anyway, I got that seed.
Oh, wow.
So I started the farm with that seed.
Huh.
And then it was like a business. And then I ran and I did a lot of personal appearances at these dispensaries.
Yeah.
And, you walk in a comedy cellar, there's a big line outside. So I walk by and I touch him on the shoulder. Hey, I'll see you inside. And one guy just looked at me just with these deep eyes, long hair, skinny blue eyes. And I said, "You all right, man?" And he said, "I was a medic in Iraq. And I saw things that happen in the human body that nobody in their life should witness." He said, "I have PTSD. They tell me I have triple PTSD. I don't really know what that means. But they gave me a bottle of Oxycontin 600. And I couldn't do it. So I started using cannabis, and it really helped me get off of that. But I have trouble talking to my wife and my kids in sleep. And your Black Diamond OG is the only strain where I can have a conversation and I can sleep."
Wow.
And he was like teared up, and he hugged me. Wow. And I said, "Man, I didn't make this." He goes, "No, but you're a steward." That was the paradigm shift right there. When we left that dispensary, I was talking to my cousin Chris, and I said, "No, man, this is the real thing. This cannabis can change people's lives for the better." And then the journey began there for me at that moment with that man, that veteran. And I'm even this season on the show, we show how to make full spectrum oil for people who are suffering from cancer, severe pain, severe illnesses. And what it does, and we interview these doctors that are really into the medicine of cannabis. And my own sister-in-law had cancer. I gave her some of this, and she, along with chemo, she's now cancer-free. So I don't know, I got a picture of a guy the other day, older guy, and the picture, his arms were black and blue because he has Alzheimer's, and he had a violent rage fit. And it took 3 adults to restrain him.
Wow.
And that's where the bruises are from. And there were children in the house.
Yeah.
Give them some full spectrum oil.
Yeah.
Get them some FSOs. Get them a candy bar of 50 milligrams. Obviously the pharmaca stuff is not working. And sure enough, I got a text saying he's in the backyard. He's comfortable. He's singing. And it's like, okay. Again, family helps families. It's not curing it, but it's these poor guys, these women and men that have it, they don't know where they are. They panic. They get scared. They get violent. Cannabis just like balances out those endocannabinoids, chills them out. I mean, I can go on and on about these stories, but cannabis is doing beautiful things for people. I mean, I got one strain. My former wife. This is new for me. Just keep saying this. My former wife. I would come downstairs and she would say, "Are you hungry?" And I go, "Yeah." "So you want to go out to eat?" "Sure." "Where do you want to go?" I go, "I don't know. I got a taste for a cheeseburger. You know, I'm a Midwest guy, right?" And she's like, so LA. She goes, "Oh, I don't know. It's a little Philly for me. Heavy. Okay. Anything else?" I said, "How about some sushi? I love that place in Sawtell with the little beers." And I had sushi with my mom last night. "Anything else?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are you wasting my time for? You know goddamn well we're going to eat where you want to eat, and we're going to eat what you want to eat. You're wasting. I've been working all day, and we go through this jerk-off exercise." Now you wonder why I'm divorced. But anyway.
Can't wait to hear about this strain.
So there's this cherry pie that I have. I like it because it's 19% THC.
Wow.
People love things over 25, and it's like, and it's got 3% terpenes, which are the flavor and the taste values. And the combination, the concert of the terpenes with the THC has this really wonderful entourage effect, and it's not heavy. I'm like, to talk. She doesn't even know I had a hit. I come downstairs. She goes, "Are you hungry?" "Yeah." "Where do you want to go to eat?" And I go, "Baby, we can go to Taco Bell as long as you're sitting across from me." She's like, "Aren't you being charming?" "Am I?" So I called the strain the marriage counselor. And I told this story at a harvest party in Oregon. And my cherry pie sold out in 2 months because people were coming in. Women were coming in going, "Where is that marriage counselor? He needs that." So you can get strains that are just make you charming and sweet. You can get strains that knock you out. You can get strains that give you energy. You get strains that heal. You get strains.
What? Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing that's awesome about that. And we talk about it all the time, is like, there's so many different levels of healing. There's the PTSD, there's the cancer, there's but then there's the what was it called? Who are we talking to? Was it Rick Doblin who said there was a guy, a veteran who felt like he had a gorilla inside of him in a cage, and it's just this, they using psychedelics for, depression and PTSD and anxiety and stuff. But that's nowadays when you can go, this is the strain for the morning. This is the strain for tonight. This is when I'm going to go out and try to be sociable. Like, thank God we're in this era. 'Cause I remember you just got what the guy had.
Yeah. And by the way, and what the guy had wasn't tested.
Right.
You didn't know the THC values. You didn't know if it was clean, what the pesticides were, what they were doing to your lungs. You didn't know nothing, man. You just did. And that guy didn't know nothing. He just bought it from somebody else. And the guys growing them were making money. Now they're growing it as artisan. Southern Oregon and Northern California is basically the Napa Valley of cannabis.
Yeah.
The most beautiful weed. By the way, there are states that are threatened by the idea of full legalization, because if the borders come down, what's going to happen is Oregon and California, which could make tremendous amount of pot, are going to be a national delivery service for the rest of the country, because it's beautiful stuff. It's not just some of the stuff that I see growing indoor in other states looks like hairballs from cats, compared to what I'm used to. And also the states are scared that they're going to lose all that tax income because they can tax the cultivation, the distribution, the dispensaries, the consumer. And if I'm shipping it to Illinois, they're only taxing it once, right? So there's kind of this push to legalize it federally, and there's also kind of a push that it doesn't happen. So the states may fight it. So it's an interesting political dilemma.
As everything is these days.
Well, it's funny because man, and the mission statement is this. If you want to hear it, the mission statement goes like this: the wellness of cannabis includes a pathway to healing for Alzheimer's, PTSD, headaches, sleeplessness, anxiety, depression. But it also enhances the sound of music, the taste of food, the touch of your lover's skin. And it also makes you feel good, gives you a sense of joy, which you should never feel guilty about feeling good. And it's enlightening. It enlightens your load and you become enlightened. You're going toward the light, which is spiritual, which is healing, you become more generous, you become kinder. I mean, I always said, I was in Chicago, I was a bouncer, and I never broke up a fight between two potheads.
That's right.
That's right.
So, all of that is involved with the wellness of cannabis. You don't have to be sick.
Right.
Everybody is using medicine. Everybody. You're doing Advil, you're doing a Tylenol. I don't know. You're doing Ambien. You're doing yoga to release endorphins. You're running to release endorphins. Everybody is looking to release endorphins and feel good. And there's medical ways to do it. There's pharmaceutical ways to do it. There's natural ways to do it. And all I'm saying is if you want to medicate from a hard day, instead of having too much to drink, which, I have a drink once in a while, but the stats of the poison of alcohol and the fucking families that alcoholism has destroyed, collapsed. Not to mention all the car accidents and the deaths, but the beatings and the battering. If you want to medicate, take a hit off the cherry pie. Take a little piece of candy from an edible. Chill, man. Love your wife or your partner. Be nice to each other a little bit,
I'm on board.
You got me on the preacher's pulpit today, man. What's going on with you? Man, I'm talking too much.
We're loving
I'm glad
it,
to hear it because I lived through all that propaganda. I was born in '64, and when I tried weed, I'm a musician, man. I just how creatively and I just thought, man, they're just telling such lies on this stuff, and the lives are destroying, jailing people. And we've even during the podcast, we've had a lot of the cannabis and psychedelic stuff on. We thought, man, maybe we should back off on this because but what keeps coming back up is how much people are hurting, and the solutions they've been sold are digging them into a deeper hole. And it's like, man, this is just reality. People are really struggling, and this stuff really helps.
Okay. Listen, I don't run into any problems doing this cannabis thing. I only run into curious people.
Right.
Yeah.
I went to my former mother-in-law's house. It's so good to say that. She was 80 and her partner was 84. And then she had two other couples there that were 79 to 84. And my wife was out of town. She thought maybe I don't want to have dinner. All right, I'll come over. And I was quiet. Now, these are the most conservative people. They got Fox News on 24 hours a day. really loud. When you open the doors, I can't hear nothing. And when cannabis came up, these 6 people just leaned into me. So my hand hurts and I can't hold my golf club anymore. And is there anything of this? What is the CBD thing? And another one's going, my shoulder, I was an Olympic athlete in my shoulder. And the other woman was going, what's the stuff that makes you feel good? All of a sudden, I'm like a pharmacist.
Yeah.
I'm like,
you're taking orders.
My house was like half a mile away. I went home, got all this CBD and salve and gave it to them all. I'm getting calls. They're sending me bottles of champagne wanting more. I'm going, go to a dispensary.
Are they finding it hard because they feel guilty walking into the drug dealer's place?
Again, one of the elements of my show is creating confidence in cannabis.
Yeah, it's important.
I'm showing how it's grown, how it's tested, what we're testing for. And then I do these little pods, these little segments. And I just did one about dispensaries. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing a girl now. She's like 37. Okay. She's been smoking since she was 17. And she just always got it from her guy. And I'm like, well, why don't you just go to the dispensary and get some pre-rolls or something? Oh, I've never been in a dispensary. I go, come on, you're like a hip girl. You're smart. You're never been in a dispensary. No, I just get it from my guy. And I'm like, my mind is blowing.
Yeah.
It's like, people are scared to go into dispensaries. So in the TV show, I literally go into a dispensary and I go, look, it's a goddamn Apple store.
That's exactly.
Look at the bud tenders. They're all like lovely, nice people. You don't know what you want.
It's clean. It smells great.
Clean. Everything is tested. Everything is regulated. Everything is on cameras. Everything is just for a normal person to go in and get stuff and have confidence.
Yeah.
She went in. She goes, oh my God, it was so nice. That bud tender was so nice. I said, I told you.
Isn't it weird? You got to convince the people that are uptight about weed the weed smoker, the professionals. It's like,
that's what I'm saying. She's a smoker, by the way. And it's like, so
crazy.
The show is hopefully going to bust some of those things. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Those people at my former mother-in-law's house are the people that I'm thinking about in all ages that are curious.
Yeah.
So my show is not a stoner show. It's not a show. Guys. It's like, all right, here's the farm. Here's how we grow it. Here's some comedy because funny shit happens.
You got it. Yeah.
And here's how we trim it. Here's how you grow it. These are the nutrients. This is a dispensary. This is RSO or FSO oil, which is used for severe illness. This is how you take it. This is how you make it.
Right.
So it's not like the 21st century Cheech and Chong, who I love.
No, it's not that. It's not.
But
no. Yeah, and the thing that's crazy too is that there are so many people, older folks in my life that suffer from migraines or old pains, that they're taking pills that are wrecking their stomachs.
Well, so I'm trying to create a pill because I know these people can take pills.
Right.
They've been trained to do this.
They love
not
pills.
Right.
But maybe the candy was the in way. But if you can say, take 2 of these and the pain in your back will go away, it may help them. But I showed my show to some people from Louisiana the other night, a rough cut, just to kind of watch your reaction. And there's a section in there about the FSO oil. And these people are normal, not show business people like us. They're real estate broker, housewife, lovely, lovely people from Louisiana. They were here for the LSU game. They travel. They're like dead people, right? They go to LSU. I had them over. They're really nice people. And they watched the show, and they were fascinated with the full spectrum oil section and had all these questions. And the guy said, my dad had dementia. Would have this helped him with dementia? The other girls, my mom, had cancer. Would this have helped with it? And then the guy said the statement. It's really simple, and you kind of said it. Everybody knows somebody who's suffering.
Yeah.
Mom, uncle, grandfather, father, buddy, veteran, a guy like
nurse,
got divorced, nurse, pressure. Everybody knows somebody who's suffering. It crosses the red and the blue and the politics. It's just so you and I, three of us, have always been in the business of making people feel good. That's what we do.
Right.
So for me, I didn't realize it, but just naturally going into cannabis is just a natural path.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah.
Me too, man.
I really love it. And you want to know the beautiful thing about cannabis and psychedelics and all of this is if you miss a day, you don't get side effects. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
you miss a day.
You miss a day, it's a pain in the ass. But,
And you can't OD.
Going to NYU.
You can't OD and die on it either,
That's the thing. I like that the psychedelics and the natural stuff is slowly starting to separate from that drugs term.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The pills that you pick up at the pharmacy are killing way more people. I mean, pot and psychedelics and all that isn't killing anybody.
No.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff that's legal, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, right? And then all the pills that's killing everyone.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I get it. It's a sad thing, but that awareness is coming around. Again, I go back to those 80-year-old conservative people who are curious.
Yeah.
Curious.
Oh, my parents too. I mean, they're not conservative, but they were about drugs. They just didn't drink or do any drugs. They didn't smoke cigarettes, And then when everything started getting legalized, my mom, who's 85, got high with me because she had some pain stuff.
Right.
And so a deadhead who's a doctor, shout out to Dr. Ian, he sent me this tincture, and I said, that they don't want any THC, so he sent me one that's has THC in it, and one was just CBD, right? So my mom, she took it, and man, she was like, yeah. And so one time she got high with me and my nephews, and I told them, I was like, do you realize how cool it is you're getting high with your grandma? Because, me getting high with my grandma, they were like, no, man, we know. I was like, all right, because I don't want this to be lost on you because you're so young. This is deep. But then my dad, too, who has pretty severe dementia now, we microdosed him and then just DJ'd old jazz records. And it was my sister said, they were like, it's the best day he's had in how many years. So it really does. It crosses all these lines.
Yeah.
Age, political, religious, whatever. It's like Vegas. It's just it cuts across everything.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And, not new, but, the field that's really starting to expand now is the microdosing of psilocybin and, mushrooms and it's nice in Oregon, Oakland have decriminalized it, and that is an interesting area of research for people who are severely depressed, severe PTSD, or I can't recommend it, but I do. I'm curious.
I have this idea lately, or I'm seeing, I noticed something I was watching said there's a global work shortage, right? So people and all these huge companies are doing away with their drug testing, even in countries where the drugs are still illegal. And I thought, well, maybe this is a gift of the pandemic because people are realizing they're more curious now that their whole lives have been stopped short and they've had a break from whatever they were doing, the rat race, right?
Right.
And now they're like, well, I hate that job. I don't want to do that. And I don't want to do it for that shitty money. And you're going to drug test me?
Right.
It's like, and I think a lot of this curiosity, I think people are like, well, wait a minute, because now they've had a chance to A/B the whole situation.
Yeah.
And they realize how much they hated A. It's like, I don't want B, but I'm not going back to A.
Yeah, right. Right.
So I wonder if, it's probably a good time for you business-wise, because everybody's like, yeah, man, we gotta think of a new. I think it fosters that curiosity. Like, there's got to be another way to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think cannabis will play a big role in that. And I do feel sorry for the guys that are still getting tested. It hurts their job. But we were releasing the Captain Jack vape pen at Curaleaf in Portland, and I signed autographs, take pictures, and discuss the what's in it. And I talk to people. I learn more on these visits than anywhere, going right to the consumer.
Right.
The woman had 100 bones broken in her body, and how she got off of opiates, and veterans. And so this guy comes up to me, man. He was a little anxious, so I tried to calm him down a little bit. He was excited. And here's why he was excited. He said, I'm a diesel worker. Diesel trucks, right? Huge vehicles, big trucks. And I got injured. And workman's comp sent me to a doctor, and they gave me all these pills. And he goes, I didn't want to take these pills, man. I wanted the cannabis for my injury. And they said, no, we can't give you that. Workman's comp's not going to pay for that.
Yep.
The fucker went and sued all the way to the Delaware courts and won. He's the first workman's comp patient to use cannabis and have workman's comp pay for it. And I was
awesome.
Like, I got an interview on camera with this guy, and I'm trying to fit it into my show because it's like all these people should be waking up. The NFL, the Teamsters Union, these poor guys, they can't,
Yeah.
It's like we got to loosen up. 37 states. That's more than half of 50 states.
That's what we're up to
Have
now.
a medical or recreational program.
And it's funny because a lot of the ones that aren't, you see billboards when you're driving through them of the neighboring state.
Oh, no.
It's like head right into Massachusetts for your,
man. There is a gentleman that runs 3 stores in Ontario, Oregon. Steve, Hot Box. It's a great dispensary. He's one of my biggest customers. He buys tons of weed from me. He's right on the border of Idaho, one of the most conservative states as far as cannabis is concerned, for sure. And he's got a huge parking lot. And you drive down that parking lot, and it's Idaho plates, Idaho plates, Idaho plates, Idaho plates, Idaho plates.
Yep.
Because they're going to get their medicine.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because Idaho won't allow it.
Well, before New York and Connecticut, where Massachusetts was the place to, Rhode Island, even like on your way to Vermont, you'd have to stop in Massachusetts if you wanted to.
That's with fireworks too, right?
Right. Yeah, basically. Yeah. And the big liquor store in New Hampshire, but yeah, it's such a moneymaker. And I heard the thing that the way that ego and politics and all that gets in the way of progress with everything. And it's like just pushes people to like go to another town or another state. I heard some mayor going, I don't care if it's legal in this state, it's not legal in my town because I don't want the kids in my town getting high on government property, like the steps of the town hall and the library. And I'm like, I don't think you're ruining any kids' plans there, brother. I don't think you're really in touch with the youth. I don't think you're killing any bucket lists for any teenagers, I don't think anybody's looking to get high at the, registrar's office.
The whole stuff in my.
Yeah, remember the good old days of smoking a joint at the notary?
Clearly, the guy's never smoked any
Exactly,
at all. It's like,
yeah.
we do want to go to the woods and go the direct opposite of that.
Yeah,
man.
these kids are smoking joints, laughing at you on the news right now, you dum-dum. Why don't you make it safer for them, But so what do you think is the biggest hurdle? In this, what do you think is the biggest hurdles as far as, with states and the whole
right now,
the stigma kind of thing?
Well, the stigma, I like I said, I don't think there's a real stigma. I think everybody knows somebody who's struggling, and everybody knows. I mean, even Trump, when he was running for office, said, people that have were sick and used it, right? It's not that bad. He even said that before he ran.
Yeah.
Because even he knows people who suffer, right? We all know suffering.
Yeah.
The stigma, I think, is moving rapidly away. And I think people like those people that I had dinner with are like, oh, I'm seeing it on the news and I'm seeing shows, and it's like they feel like it's become fashionable and they're not in fashion, so that kind of helps a little bit. But the thing I'm more concerned about is the organization of the legality of the regulations in different states. Like here in California, the taxation, they got so greedy, and the taxation makes it, first of all, impossible for you to make money. The margins are thinner than restaurants. But what it does is it booms the black market. So the idea was to get rid of the black market, right? Because carrying cash, you get robbed. How do you handle the? You enter into a legal world. You enter into a world of no regulation, no testing. You don't know what you're smoking. People getting busted, incarcerated, collapsing yet more families.
Yeah.
And like that girl, buying from her dealer guy, the guy's running illegally. He can get busted and get thrown in jail. So there needs to be more understanding and reform within these states to stop, to make it more attractive to, like this girl, to go to a dispensary. But if the weed on the street is cheaper, a lot cheaper, hey man, most of us, not me anymore, but a lot of people working check to check. They budget. There were dispensaries where I said, "What did you try my weed?" He goes, "Oh shit, I just bought some." My next paycheck, that section of the paycheck, I'm gonna try your.
Yeah.
I went. I got my beer.
Yeah.
So they're
groceries.
So this particular year, right now, the black market is jumping up here in California and Oregon.
Wow.
But Oregon is pretty good. They took lessons from Washington and Colorado.
Yeah.
And they actually all came down to California to speak about how their legislation are. But the California ego is like, oh, thank you very much. We know what we're doing. We are the largest state in the country.
I lived in Colorado when it first became medically available. And wow, what a game changer, I mean, and there were nights, it was kind of like relearning how to use it. You know what I mean? Like before it was like you said, like you get what you get from the guy, and people from going to Fish concerts or whatever who gets the good and then you're all set. But now you can get marshmallow, pretzel, Cloud9 bars and little gummy bears and Tootsie Rolls and cotton candy and soda and all that, and it's like you're a kid again. You're like a 30-year-old with a sweet tooth, and you go a little overboard. Next thing you know, you're just kind of sitting in the tub staring at your hand at 4 a.m.
You gotta dosage. That's why I think I think the consumer, like all consumers, they want a controlled experience. you know you have how you're going to feel on 3 beers.
Right.
You know how you're going to feel on 3 beers, 2 shots of whiskey, 2 glasses of wine, 1 glass of wine. You're making a choice to be out of control, but you're controlling the dosage.
Yeah.
Right? And then you get a little drunk and you lose sense of control of your experience, blah, blah, blah. But in cannabis, you really don't know how to control your experience when you're smoking flower, unless you try it. And there's a lot of anxiety around that. That's why I've partnered up with Bang Chocolate and Glazed Chocolate in Oklahoma, because to me, they make the best chocolate. I use, Bang Chocolate. I do 2.5 milligrams to sleep. Beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a small amount. But the thing about entering into this market, I think the chocolates are the best because it's measured. You can start at 2.5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, and know how you feel.
Yeah.
And you can control your experience. So I think that's one of the ways is in that edible market.
And it lasts a little longer too. That's why I was scared of it, because, someone would be on the road with the Allman Brothers, and someone would leave cookies on the bus.
No.
I was like, no.
Touch anything anybody made at home. Never.
I would never do that.
I ate this much. I'm telling you, a finger, a clip of a brownie, like just that corner. I just like that before I got on a plane. In the middle of the flight between San Francisco and here, LA, I was tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tripping.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, everybody knows I'm high on this plane. What am I doing? What do you think I'm going to? And I had to go to my 8-year-old son's birthday. And I was in the shower with cold water. And I'm like trying to fake it through dinner. Never eat anything anybody makes.
It's like a deleted scene from the Doors movie. It's the worst bad trips I think I've ever had have been on too much or too, like, some
I had a friend that was a roadie.
Eating weed is just like,
yeah. I had a friend that was a roadie, and we were coming back from LA, and his friend gave him a Tootsie Roll, and she said, don't just eat like an eighth of it. And he was just like, whatever, and he just ate the whole thing. He didn't smoke weed for over 6 months. Like, he had such a bad trip on the plane, and when it kicked in, he's like,
had that terrible experience.
yeah.
So they stay away from edibles, but in a regulated market,
Right. So then do you think there's going to be that like kind of is like they're going to be the Marlboro and Camelites and Cools and Salems and all that of cannabis eventually, you think? Do you think it's going to be big tobacco eventually?
God, I hope not.
I don't know. I don't know what it's going to happen. There's a lot of discussion just about branding, and to me, there is no branding right now.
I hope not. Yeah.
Just names. You got to have a context of, it's going to be an emotional tie. That's why I like the Blues Brothers brand. It's got a nice emotional tie and story to it. It's music. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's, the musicians in the 60s, those blues guys, they were smoking a little pot, playing, digging. John and Danny brought that spirit back and alive. And it's about fun and enjoying yourself and music. And then John dying of a drug overdose. It's like Danny said, if John was a pothead, he'd be alive today.
Yeah.
So, there's so much going on behind this Blues Brothers brand. And I just think there's a better branding because there's a better context to it,
Yeah, totally.
I'm glad you brought that up, because for guys my age, I wanted to ask you about the Blues Brothers, and if that was hard for you, even just with John's role in that, or was it cathartic? What was it like for you?
What? Doing the Blues Brothers? What do you mean?
Yeah. Did you guys?
Really? Danny? I do it now with Danny's every day.
Yeah.
Oh, Danny was just a dick, I was like, Jimmy, it's time you join the Blues Brothers band. Danny, no, there's no fucking way. Come on, man, that was John's thing, you know.
Yeah.
I can't eat a cheeseburger on screen. I can't hold a sword. I can't do Marlon Brando. He ate up my fucking wheelhouse and shit. I'm definitely not doing the Blues Brothers. That'd be fucking weird. Absolutely not, Jimmy. The Blues Brothers, Jimmy, we created a spirit. This is it's like a law firm, Jimmy. It's like a law firm with all the partners, and one of the partners dies, and so the son or the brother takes over in that spot. It's the same thing. I said, no, it's not the same thing. I can't take over Jake Blues. It's not Jake Blues. No, Jimmy. And he's like making shit up, right? Absolutely not. You would be brother Zirashida. Brother Blues, the long-lost Albanian, the brother of Jake Blues that I found in the dark villages of Albania. Doesn't speak a word of English, but he can sing the blues. And I go looking for him, and I find Brother Z, and I bring him in. It would be a new character. You're not playing Jake Blues, of course not. You'd be playing the long-lost brothers. And Danny, are you out of your mind? Jimmy, the Blues Brothers need you to keep the legacy and the spirit of the blues and Jake Blues alive. We need you. The band needs you. Although you don't think it's fucking weird? You don't think people are going to say that's fucking weird? Absolutely not. You're going to bring the joy. You can dance. You can sing. You can do it all. You've been on Broadway. You're Pirates of Penzance kicking with swords. Come on.
Unbelievable.
And I'm like, if you don't think it's weird, I don't know why I think it's weird. And that was 25 years ago. And it was like Danny took one of those saws in surgery where they cut your chest open and open it up and reach in for your heart. And he reached into my heart. And John and Danny gave me life with this blues, man, with this music. I came alive. My life changed. I was depressed. I had gone through another divorce back then.
Oh, that ex-wife. Okay. Divorce. Yeah.
Who I adore. She's a wonderful woman. We have a nice relationship together. And I was dead. Living dead, the Walking Dead, and we're doing the Blues Brothers in Vegas on October 21st at the House of Blues at the Mandalay Bay. There's the big MJ Unpacked convention and MJ Biz convention. And we're going to do with Steve D'Angelo, and we're doing a show to benefit the Last Prisoners Project.
We just had him on.
We had him. I know Teal's one of the. What are you with Teal? You're
I guess I'm on member? The advisory board now.
Advisory board.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, okay. You know all about it then, man. I mean, this is going to be a great convention.
Best, yeah.
There's a lot of money. Steve's going to be there. Got a couple special guests that I can't tell you is coming. And then on the 19th, we're going to be in 19th or 20th. We're going to be in Tulsa, Oklahoma, also doing a Blues Brothers show.
Awesome.
And it's lovely being with that, 6'4" Canadian dancing up.
Man, he seems like such a trip to hang with. What, man?
It's fucking crazy, man. We were doing a gig in Toronto, and we're sitting in the dressing room, and it is 10 minutes before showtime. He goes, Jimmy, we should change the opening.
Great.
What would you like to change it to? What's the song? It goes, you got me running. Now you got me running. Shotgun. Shotgun. You are running. Do the jerk, baby.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. We just did a horrible version of that, but yeah.
First 30 seconds of that is like this unbelievable sax solo, man. Just full of fucking energy, and it's just fantastic. Who's the originator of that song?
You're killing me. I hear it in my head right now.
Johnny Mac. Is it Johnny Mac? Look it up. Shotgun. Who is it? I get the Mac song.
I'm looking.
Got it?
Looking.
Shotgun.
My hands don't move that fast. Hang on.
You want to run do the jerk, baby.
I could tell you got the groove. See, I can see the way you're moving. Damn,
yeah, I'm looking it up. It's going to take a sec.
So, Danny says,
Junior Walker in the All-Star. Thank you, Eric.
Junior Walker.
I'm like...
The wizard.
Of course it's Junior Walker. So, shows you how stupid I get some days. Ever since the divorce, I got a little stupid. Anyway, so Danny is like, Jimmy, we got to do the opening of Shotgun. And I went, yeah, we'll rehearse it the next sound check. No, we got to do it tonight. Danny, this is an all-star band. I'm sure they know it. I go, I don't. I got to talk to him. Let me. Now it's 5 minutes before the show. I go up to Joe Sublett, who's the masterpiece of our band. And I go to Joe, I go, you know what? Joe, Danny, you know Danny. He wants to do the opening to Shotgun. He wants to open a show with Shotgun. I don't know. Do you know it? He goes, yeah, I played it with Walker. I played it with you all. I played it. Oh, so you know it? Yeah.
Kind of.
Because you know the All-Stars? I'm one of them.
That's
That's
awesome.
not my band is. I go, do you think the band? He goes, yeah, they're all good. But would you tell him? Yeah, no problem. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 2 minutes. We're there in a minute. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All-Star Blues Brothers official showman. Danny does that big MC thing. God damn it. Boom, on the beat, we're doing Shotgun, man. And it is smoking. And it was fun, man. But Danny...
Man, that's pretty. It's kind of amazing to think about too, like the gift, in a way down the road that your older brother left you, that found you when you were depressed.
I did Sweet Home Chicago at the House of Blues because Danny said you better learn how to sing the blues because I said I sang on Broadway. He goes, you better learn. So I started with the Sacred Hearts Band at the House of Blues on Monday night.
Oh wow!
Guys, they're all musicians that met on Monday night and jammed. I mean, Federini was there. Bruce's keyboard player, Danny Federici. The band is just stacked with beautiful guys. And they had asked me to sing with them, and I went, oh, no. So I went there, and I said, well, Danny wants me to learn. And as I think I know Sweet Home Chicago. So I got up. They introed me. I started singing. The place was full. And in the second chorus, I went, oh, John, I get it. I get what you were doing. Oh, John, thank you.
Wow.
Thank you
It's
for
beautiful.
bringing me here. This is so... I didn't say this part, but in retrospect, it's like so healing. You're loving me now. Thank you for the gift.
Yeah.
And we thank him every night at the show.
That's beautiful, man.
Danny was the one. I mean, come on, Danny put his arm around me and forced me into this. He must have known I needed something because I did, and he gave it to me. And there's that saying, when you drink the water, remember the men or women who dug the well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, Danny.
Yeah.
I'm drinking the water, and I'm grateful and honored. And
Well, we're grateful and we're honored to have you with us, man. Thank you so much for chilling with us. That was
man.
awesome. This
Oh,
podcast,
fun, man. I'm just hanging out.
hell yeah, dude. It's great. And you're doing such awesome work. I'm so excited for the show. So the second season's going to be hitting the waves soon.
Discovery Plus, probably in November. We're going through our notes session right now, and we're going to actually pick a release date today at 4:30.
We'll go get ready for that meeting.
Okay. All right, man. Thank you.
We love you so much, dude. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch. Yes, totally. Yeah. I'll keep an eye out for your son, man. We should let me know if he wants to come to a show. I'll be happy to bring him.
All right, nice to meet you.
You too, man. Bless you.
Yeah, bless you too.
Adios, Jim.
Man, thank you.
Later, man.